him a whole bunch of questions. The guy gives Brooklyn his business card and says, "Tell your parents to call me." So Brooklyn calls up Mom, and Mom goes, "What? What's his number?" Phones him straight up. "What do you think you're doing? Going out of school? This is how it works. You know how this works. We're allowed to do this, this, and that." So I read the Child Social Service Safety Act, or Welfare Act, and actually there's no provision in there whatsoever allowing him to do such a thing. There really isn't. So Matt sat down with us and said, "So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a style of letter that he's had some success with, where we bring that public official in his capacity as a public official under his oath, and we're going to do a letter to him. He used his name in lower uppercase, DBA, doing business as, and then his all caps name, social services worker, where we bring him under oath, accepting his oath, accepting the fixtures and the assets of his position. It's a very detailed document bringing him under firm and binding contract, where we acknowledge his request for me, because he was saying we're going to meet, we're going to discuss this. Now here's what happens in that jurisdiction. If a social worker calls you up and you bring him into your house, you've granted him jurisdiction over the matter. Okay? You've totally indemnified him, right? But what the contract says was, and this is the very part that Mac brought out, this is very important. In order for any investigation to take place, there must be a sworn affidavit the government cannot initiate the investigation. The sworn affidavit must come from the lady who called. Now, if they're lying, or just, anybody could pick up the phone and make any wild, crazy accusation. How can you defend yourself against that if you don't know who that individual is? Yeah, because we need to, if they're lying or being mischievous, we need to be able to go after them for liability and civil. And the social worker, if providing that affidavit, would then be indemnified because he's just doing his job. We want these people to investigate things, don't we?
Well, it depends if they have caused somebody to come forward with a pretext so that they can come to claim that they have a legitimate reason when they've actually fabricated the evidence for it.
So this is a way for you to weed that out. Is this a real concerned parent in your neighborhood? In which case they probably should have come to you first, but they chose to go this way. So I said in a very strict way, we will meet with you when you provide that sworn affidavit of the alleged complainant, so that we can go after them if they've in fact lied, and then we can actually see what it is they're claiming, right? Because they could come in here under that pretext, and maybe they don't like, something. Maybe they don't like something in the house. They could come after you for something else, and you've granted them that power. And let me tell you something. He was calling every day. We're going to have a meeting, leaving messages here, messages on my wife's cell phone. We're going to have a meeting. We're going to have a meeting. This is the way every day. And it took over the weekend. So for 4 or 5 days, and then over the weekend to draft up this letter. Then we sent it by registered mail and faxed it Monday morning. And that was several months ago. That guy has never called back. Not once. No call, no nothing. And if he should ever call back, he better have that affidavit, because we put in that letter, you call me, contact me, leave a message, or do anything without providing that in writing first.
A line in the sand.
Then this is a breach of contract, and I put in there under no certain terms, I'm coming after you.
They created their own language in order to get you confused. They do not want you understanding what they are saying, but they do want you to believe they understand. They are trying to deceive you. They want your energy.
I want to read you guys my court transcript, one of the times I was in front of the judge. What's it say here?
Unidentified speaker.
Okay? There's a lot of unidentified speaker here. I'll tell you, it was me. Court, would you step forward, please? The clerk of the court, the court clerk says, Luke Dennis. Then the court, okay, Mr. Dennis, I'm agent for Luke Dennis. The court, I'm sorry? I'm agent for Luke Dennis. The court, who are you? Well, Your Honor, I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage because I don't know who everyone here is. So, And the judge goes, well, I'm Judge Daniel. I says, okay, thank you. And I says, and what is your name? What is the prosecutor's name? Mr. Jaffa. Thank you very much, I said. This is and excuse me, are you Luke Dennis? You, this little person here. He was standing beside me. And I said no. And he says, no, well, he could
Did he
say...
actually use the words, you, this little person here?
Yep, that's what the court said. And I said no, and then the court's, no, well, he could sit down then, please. So I said, okay, and then thank you, he'll have a seat. And I says, of his free will, he'll choose to go sit down, right? And Jay goes,
You
yeah.
were wearing your white suit at the time, weren't you?
Was that?
Yeah, you were, and he was dressed up to the nines, man.
So he goes, unidentified, all right, and he goes, so, okay, thank you, okay, so you know who we are, who are you, sir? Well, thank you, Your Honor. I have one other question. Are there any actors in the courtroom? The judge says, not that I know of, sir. You're not acting as a judge? I'm sitting as a judge. Now, I should have said, well, then I'm sitting as the accused, or standing as the accused.